What's up, guys? You are on the air and off the books with Beth Ann and Samantha, and today we are going to be talking about the book Gone for Good by Joanna Schaffhausen. We did just actually get this book at the library, so it is available for you guys to check out. This is a mystery thriller, you would say.
Thriller mystery, yeah.
Yeah. So basically, yeah. Mystery thriller, mystery.
Sorry. I was situated in my seat. I wasn't paying attention. But yeah, you're right.
Yes. So, do you want to give the description? Do you want me to give the description?
The book just came out in August.
Yes.
We got this book as a ARC, a copy. So, pleasantly surprised because you picked this out, right?
Yes, I did, and I gave it a 4.9 out of 5.
I gave it 4.3 out of 5. It's very good.
Not bad, yeah.
It's very good. I really did like it. I sped read though, so I feel like if I would have taken my time a little bit more, I'm sorry guys, I'm so freaking sorry. I would have gave it a higher rating, but it was just so twisty and delicious.
It was.
It was very good. It was a very good, refreshing murder mystery. And I will say, if you're looking for we just reviewed Her Final Confession by Lisa Reagan, and it's a Josie Quinn mystery book 4.
Actually, I think that Her Final Confession is coming out after this episode. I could be wrong, though.
Okay, I don't know. But either way, we have reviewed these 2 books, and somehow we picked 2 books with literally the exact same themes.
Oh, yeah. They do have very similar themes.
Which is so odd to me.
Yes, but I will say that this book I thought was better.
This book, yes, that's what I was getting at. Is if you really want a standalone and you don't want to go through the Josie Quinn series to get to something like this with this kind of a theme, read this book. And I think this is the author's first book.
No, it is not. Well, it's the first book of the series.
Oh, this is going to be a series. Oh, because it's the Annalisa Vega series.
Yes.
So it's a whole nother woman detective, situational, like... It's very reminiscent of... We tend to read a lot of those.
Yes. And it is about a serial killer, which makes it 12 times better.
Yes. So what's the last one? It's so odd to me.
Just general, like, murder mystery. Like, sometimes it's just about, like... You know, like, there's some main character that's actually, like, killing people. But this one is about, like, a legitimate serial killer.
Yes. Okay, so let me think. So you open up, and it's she's a investigative detective, and she's like a PI. So no. It
opens up with, what's the girl's name that gets killed? Grace. That's what I thought, but I was having a brain moment. It opens up with Grace, and she's actually like, she's this...
Oh, right. You're right.
She's like this self-investigative PI girl. She just does it for fun, and she's in this group called the Gravediggers.
Yes.
She's in a group called the Gravediggers. Sorry, cough. And so this group, they investigate cases that have not been solved. So she was really into the serial killer called the Lovelorn Killer.
Yes, and I guess the thing about their group was that they were, like, trying to unearth, like, cold cases.
Yes.
But they had never, like, tried to touch on a serial killer before.
Yes.
Until she pressed them to go after this specific guy.
Yes, and spoilers, because this is spoilers from here on, because she really wanted to go after the serial killer because she was close to figuring out who it was.
I think she did know.
She did. It told us towards the end that she did know. So it starts out with her, and she's investigating the Lovelorn Killer. And she ended up getting too close, and she became his first victim.
Yes, after he
had like a 12-year period of like going
like
MIA.
That. I think you're right. I can't remember the exact number, but it's definitely like over a decade he had stopped. And then her persistence, he said, brought her back out of hiding.
Yes.
Or out of, like, ready to kill again, essentially.
Right. And so then the story switches to Annalisa Vega, who is the detective who's she's not on the investigation yet, but his last killer, the 12 years ago before he went MIA, his last victim was her family friend.
Yeah, which is her boyfriend's mother.
Yes. So she was, quote unquote, murdered by the Lovelorn killer.
Right.
So basically, Annalisa Vega is trying to figure out who killed Grace. Well, and then they end up saying, okay, it is the Lovelorn killer. They had to, figure out if it was a copycat or whatever, but they end up figuring out that it is him and he is back. So,
and trigger warning, this is also a spoiler. It's obvious. This is a little bit more, I don't know, the other one's pretty intense too, but what he does is he ties up his victims.
Yes, and they are all women.
Yes, and he strangles them slowly to death and watches them die and other things, but we won't. You can read that for yourself. And then when he does that, after he writes a love letter to them to paper.
Yes.
As if he's talking directly to his dead victim.
Yeah, kind of like the Zodiac killer.
That was the most unsettling part. Like, reading those, I was like, oh, that is, like, just so distasteful. Like, it was just like, I mean, as far as serial killers go, like, dude.
Yeah.
Like, that is, no. It was so bad. So, I think that was, like, the sketchiest part for me.
Yeah.
I didn't like it. It was awful.
Yeah, so, I mean, basically, a couple more women keep dying, so she's basically just this entire time trying to figure out the connection and who this killer could be, and so I forget who did they think.
She's targeted. He immediately targets her.
Yes, so
and
he
decides that she's going to be his next victim.
Yes, and he's calling her on the phone, saying like,
basically, I know every move you
make. Like I'm watching you, like I'm telling you what you're doing right now.
Yeah.
And so he sends her to places to find the people he's murdered.
Yes. Which is so sad because she ends up going because her ex-boyfriend, whose mother died at the hands of this killer, essentially, shows back up in her life, and she goes to a hotel with him. She's not home, and he goes home and calls her while she's at the hotel. Says, you're not here, so I had to improvise. So she freaks out, rushes home, and then her neighbor's dead.
Yeah.
In her place.
Yes.
And he's got all these ropes laid out for her, and, has been in her home through her drawers, and all this other stuff, and, it's just so unsettling. And so, I just liked it because it kept giving you pieces of information constantly.
Right.
Without completely revealing what it was, because at least I was hooked until the very end when you realize when she's nailing this guy down.
And if you don't want to know the ending, stop here.
Yes, because we're about to lay it down on you.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It was so well done.
The ending was crazy, but then the ending to the ending was even more crazy.
Yes, there's two endings.
Yes, so, okay. First ending, revealing the Lovelorn killer. She figures out, she gets a call by one of the gravediggers. And it was the guy who he had gotten hurt a while. I think it was back in the war or something.
Yeah, he got hurt in the war and his legs were messed up, so he was in a wheelchair.
So she gets a call from the Lovelorn killer. And the Lovelorn killer is like, hey, I have this guy.
Come get him.
And she's like, well, you need to prove to me that he's still alive. So homeboy in the wheelchair gets on the phone. And he's like, please come, save me. I'm at this insane asylum, abandoned insane asylum. So she goes there.
And you have to know, before we go on, that she worked very, very closely throughout this whole book with the gravediggers to try to figure out what was going on. So she knew all of these people, worked very closely with them.
Yes.
So, keep going.
So she gets to the insane asylum, and homeboy is hanging by a rope upside down, like,
Yes.
just, like, in the middle of the room. And so she's like, oh, my gosh, like, okay, we got to get you down and we got to get out of here. And he's, like, freaking out.
Yeah.
And so she gets him down. She throws him over her back. And what does he say? He says something.
I don't know what
He says a phrase. And she says, what did you say to me? And she remembers that it's something that the Lovelorn killer said to her on the phone.
That and her partner Nick was stabbed.
Yes.
And when he woke up in like a thing of consciousness, he said something about pay attention to his shoes.
Yes.
And so between like what he had said and like looking down at his shoes, realizing like why are your shoes so muddy and dirty and worn? Because you're wheelchair ridden. I'm carrying you.
Right.
Your shoes would be brand new.
And Nick had noticed, he had remembered when, after he got stabbed, he noticed when they went to the apartment, all of his shoes were muddy. And it just it was like a trigger in his brain when he was getting.
Something's wrong because you shouldn't have muddy shoes.
Yeah.
So she instantly realizes that.
She's like, oh,
the killer
crap.
is freaking on my back. Like, I am carrying the Lovelorn killer on my back.
So she tries to do a 180, and she's like, oh, nothing, never mind.
No, hold on, let me readjust you. Like, whatever.
Yeah.
He was just like, and then he's just like, you can hear, like, in your head as you're reading, his voice change, like, oh, so the game is over.
Yeah.
And you're just like,
and I'm like, oh.
Oh, no. And then instantly it's this massive fight. Like, for her to get control of this guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he ends up getting gunned down.
Yeah.
But it was literally so insane that he had covered up the fact that he was, and used his wheelchair, because he was actually injured, I guess.
Yeah, I didn't even expect that.
Not in the way that he had said that he was. Like,
right.
He wasn't in some war, like...
Well, he was paralyzed for a little bit, but he got movement and stuff back in his legs. And that's why he was MIA for 12 years, because he was, doing his injured, trying to get his, movement back.
Exactly.
And so, yeah, I did not expect that, but now that, I read it, you're like, oh crap, that's really good. I would have.
And I guess he was a utility worker, so he worked on the electricity poles and stuff like that, and every time there was a storm or the power would go out and stuff, he would be there.
Yes.
So that was the connection with that Grace had found, and that's why his shoes were the way that they were.
Yes.
And that's why he could have vantage point and everything like that.
Yeah.
So it was just it fell into place so beautifully.
Yes. It was really good. All the connections were awesome.
It was so good. But the twist that I was...
And then...
Yeah.
Yeah.
This, I feel was unnecessary, but it was still good.
I will say I liked this twist.
It was good, but I thought... I was happy with her being with Colin and going away and traveling and that being the end of it.
Yeah.
But then when this happened and then her and Colin and not even Nick get together and she's just all alone and in this very sad, depressing end.
Yeah.
That kind of, made it, no resolution for me.
Mm-hmm.
But this was insane. And she sacrificed her family for it.
Yes. So, basically, we talked about how her family friend was the Lovelorn killer's last victim.
Mm-hmm.
Well, really, it was not really a copycat, but...
A setup.
A setup, yes. So it turns out that she's over at her dad's, and she goes up to the attic to get something down from her dad, and she finds missing evidence from that woman's murder in a box, and she takes it down, and she's like, Dad, what the heck is this?
Yeah, what do you have? The murder weapon.
Yeah, and her dad panics, and turns out he stole that evidence because he did not want anybody to find out that the detective, Annalisa Vega's brother, went and
actually killed what they thought was the last victim.
Yes, killed her and made it look like it was the Lovelorn killer because her dad, Annalisa's dad, was having an affair with that lady.
And she got pregnant.
Yes.
Well, the son, I guess, got really mad about it and because he didn't want his family to fall apart. And he had anger issues, I guess, drinking problem at the time. He was younger. So he snuck out of a Halloween party when she went home because of morning sickness, I guess, when he didn't know.
Yes.
Got mad at her because she told him, go home, you don't know what's going on. Like, mind your own business, you're just a kid. She called him a kid and he lashed out and killed her.
Yeah.
So he went and got his dad. Well, his dad decided to dress up his side chick like the Lovelorn killer had killed her.
Yeah.
To cover up the fact that his son murdered, the woman he was cheating with.
Yeah.
And the pregnancy. So he, double homicide there. But so not only did he kill his half brother or sister, he killed his father's, that's so crazy. Mistress.
Yeah.
And then, Annalise was like, how do you expect me to, cover this up? And he's like, her dad was like, you need to burn this stuff right now. You need to get it out of here. And then Alex, the one who actually killed Katie, came in. He's like, Dad, why are you telling Anna all of this? What? Because I guess he's been spiraling downwards ever since then into, a massive drinking problem.
Right.
He's got a family, kids. He's a teacher. And she was like, how do you expect me not to turn you in? I'm a police officer. This is my job. This is what I do for a living. This is what, this is wrong. She gets on the phone and she's like, I need to report a murder. And they're, screaming at her. Her dad just fell and broke his hip. I thought that her brother was going to lash out and kill her with a hammer.
I thought that he was going to try to kill her, too. But I will say that I am glad she wasn't just okay, just, go and never come back. You need to leave. I'm glad that she didn't call.
He had lived his whole life, and she was mad at her dad because he was like, you're going to ruin our family because of this. And all I could think was, you ruined it by cheating.
Right.
And then covering up this murder and not giving a care at all about, what this could have done to your wife, your children.
Right.
And then, so you could cover your bottom, you saved his butt, and you were a cop, it was so good and so crazy. But unfortunately, because of all that, nobody in her family will speak to her now.
Which makes me so mad.
Her boyfriend Colin,
her sister-in-law did end up talking to her.
Because, Alex's wife, because
yes.
she couldn't make ends meet without his income. She needed help with the kids and stuff.
I don't know that she was mad at her, though.
I don't think she was mad, but her immediate family, her mom, dad, her brothers are mad because her brother's spending life in prison.
As he should.
Right, and then her dad is on house arrest and won't speak to her. Her mom is giving her a play-by-play of every single thing that's happening out of spite.
Right.
And then she has to try to take care of her sister-in-law and her nieces and nephews because nobody else will help her make ends meet.
Yeah.
And she decides to go on, because the whole plan was for her and Colin to go on, see the world together after all this, take vacations and stuff. And when he found out about what had happened, he literally stopped talking to her, but it's not even her fault.
Right.
He left and didn't stopped talking to her.
Yeah.
She even had to, take down her social media.
I get it, but, then again, you can't
Why is he
blame
her for something
her.
That, at least he has closure. They all have closure.
But
she did the right thing.
I just wonder if he thought, maybe that she had known and that she was just covering it up.
If she would, but my thing is that can't be because why would she report it if she had?
Right.
Cause I feel like if she would have known then, she would have reported it then immediately.
Yeah. But I guess I kind of get it.
Me off that she was by herself at the place that they were supposed to be at.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he wants to put a heart. He's too busy playing games. I don't like playing games. I don't like when you play games, boy.
Don't be playing games.
It was really good. You should read it.
Yes. Come in and check it out. Our boss is actually reading it right now. I convinced her. She's reading it on Hoopla.
Yeah, we have it on Hoopla as an audiobook. We have it on Libby/Overdrive as an ebook. We have physical copies. I read it on Kindle, and it's only 297 pages. So if you're looking for something shorter, that's fast, thrilling.
There's really no slow part in the book.
No, I agree. It's really good, and they do a good job flip-flopping between all of the dialogue and stuff. It's not too confusing.
Yeah.
And even when you listen to it, it's not bad, because I did both. I listened to it, and then I read some of it as well, so.
Yes. So you guys should definitely pick it up, listen to it, whatever you like to do, and you guys need to tell us what you think about it.
Yes.
Doug, if you're listening, Lori, if you're listening, go read.
Yeah.
It's excellent. We promise you'll like it. And then tell us what you think. Email us at offthebooks@khcpl.org or comment under this Facebook post that'll be up of the preview. So, and we will see you guys next week. And I think that we are going to be reviewing B.A. Paris's...
no, that's going to be in January. That's our first book for January.
Just kidding. It's not B.A. Paris.
The next thing you'll hear us all reviewing will be with Lori and Doug. Lori Hugley from South Working Girl, our assistant director. And we all have done a book swap.
Yes.
And we have randomly selected each other, picked books, bought them for each other. And spoilers, we are all reading thrillers.
Shocker.
I didn't think that would
We did not plan that.
Way. But
I think we were all just like, we all like thrillers, so let's all choose thrillers.
Because we did write out a list of everything.
Yeah.
And gave suggestions, but it's going to take me literally forever to read this book, so I have to get started now.
Yes.
And then after that, we're doing hot chocolate or coffee and conversation with Trish and Justin, our bosses. So that'll be interesting. You can hear what we're reading at the time, which is for me, it's probably going to be this book.
We're gonna talk about Christmas and what we do on the holidays.
Book lists and Christmassy goodnessy things, and
so that'll be fun.
It'll be great. So join us. Would it be not next week, but the week after?
Yes. Join us in 2 weeks, and we hope you guys have a great rest of the day.
See you later. Bye.
See ya.